Hello viewers, this Too Fast here. In this video I'll show you how to install a Homelink mirror into a vehicle that's not pre-wired for this type of mirror. Now with the Homelink mirror, I'll be able to open up to 3 garage doors, and also this one I installed has an auto dimming feature, so when you're driving at night, if there's a vehicle behind you with high beams, the mirror will automatically dim. So let's get started and I'll show you how I install this. So let me show you this Homelink mirror I bought off eBay. On the front, you have the 3 buttons for the Homelink. On the right side is on-off switch for the auto dimming mirror. Let's have a look at the back. Right here is a photo cell to sense daytime or nighttime. And in the middle is a power plug to power this mirror. Now if you're shopping for a used mirror on eBay, a couple of things to note. One is make sure you have the correct mount that'll fit your vehicle. Depending on the make and model of the vehicle, they do have different mounts for different cars. Secondly, since you're installing this mirror in a car that's not pre-wired, you want to make sure the mirror comes with a wiring harness. So the seller would have had to cut this wiring harness from the original vehicle and include it in the sale of the mirror. And this plug will plug into this connector you see right here. For this type of mirror, you need 3 wires. One is ignition 12 volt, one is constant 12 volt, and one is ground. Here's a closer look at this connector. I'll show you the pinout on this. Pin 1 is the top right hand corner. Pin 2, 3, 4, 5, and then pin 6 is this one at the bottom here. 7, 8, 9, 10. Pin 6, which is this green wire here, is your ignition 12 volt. Now depending on the vehicle that this was taken out of, the wiring color might be different. But this pin will be ignition 12 volt. And over here on pin 10, with this yellow wire, this is constant 12 volt. Now this middle one up here, pin 3, is your ground. Also to note, pin 8, that's a pin right below pin 3, is also ground. And some vehicle will use pin 8 instead of pin 3, but both are ground. To remove the mirror, there's a T20 screw you need to loosen. Now you can slide this upward and the mirror will come off. Now these wires you see here is for my dash cam. I will run separate wires to power the Homelink mirror. Now just like I showed you with the pinout on the mirror, you need to run 3 wires down to your fuse box. And here you see the 3 wires I ran. The black wire is going to be chassis ground, and with the 2 red, one will be ignition 12 volt, the other one is constant 12 volt. So I tuck these wires behind the headliner, run it along to the driver's side, and then pull back this trim piece on the A-pillar and run the 3 wires straight down along the side, all the way down to the fuse box. You also need to pull back on the weather stripping to get access to this area. Now on most cars, there's a side panel you can remove. It's usually held in by clips. Here you see I ran the power wires into the fuse box, and with a black wire, which is ground, I grounded it to this ground bolt right over here. Now to test the grounding bolt to make sure this is a true ground, use a multimeter, set it to resistance test, and I'll put one probe on this chassis ground and the other probe on the bolt. And you see the reading goes to 0. This shows you both points are grounded. To tap the wire into your fuse box, you need to use fuse tap, like this one right here. Locate the 2 fuses that will give you constant 12 volt and the ignition 12 volt. Make sure you're not using a circuit that's critical to the operation of the vehicle, like ABS or SRS. So for this Hyundai Elantra, I'll be tapping into the interior light 10 amp fuse, and that'll give me constant 12 volt. Remove the existing fuse in the fuse box, and then place it into the bottom slot of the fuse tap, and then install your own fuse in the top slot to power your Homelink mirror. And to check if you have constant 12 volt or ignition 12 volt, use a multimeter, set it to a DC volt measurement, and then you probe that fuse. And here you see, it's giving me 12.6 volt. So this is my constant 12 volt. You need to crimp the fuse tap to the wire that's running up to the headliner. And then plug the fuse tap into the fuse slot. For the ignition 12 volt in this vehicle, I'm tapping into the 15 amp fuse that's marked for a seat heater. And for this circuit, if you're testing the ignition 12 volt, there should be no voltage when the ignition is off, and your multimeter will show 12 volt when you turn on the ignition. As you can see, I've already installed the fuse tap for that other wire. So right now I have the constant 12 volt connected, the ignition 12 volt connected, and the chassis ground connected onto the side. At this time, you can close this up. Now to connect the wiring harness to these wires, you can use butt connectors, or you can solder it directly onto these wires. Now, if you're not familiar with splicing wires or soldering wires, I do have tutorial videos showing you how to do that, so you might want to check it out. And now click the link below. For this install, I'll be soldering these wires. Now, since the power wire is already connected to the fuse box, to minimize the chance of shorting things out, I'll connect one wire at a time. I'll start with ignition 12-volt wire. Now, the reason I have two wires connecting to my ignition 12-volt wire is because the second wire I'll be using for hardwire to my radar detector. And since I'm soldering the wires, I'm connecting both the Homelink wire and the radar detector wire together. I'll cover it with Heatshrink. Next, I'll connect the ground wire. And the last wire to connect is a constant 12-volt wire. And now the three wires are connected. I'll use some Tesa fabric tape and wrap this up. And here's what the wiring harness looks like now. This other wire is going to my radar detector. Tuck the extra wire behind the headliner. Now plug the connector into the mirror. By the way, this bracket you see here is for my radar detector. Now slide the mirror onto the windshield mounts. Tighten that set screw. So the Homelink mirror is now installed. Now if you want to learn how to program the garage doors to the Homelink button, I have a video showing you step by step. Check that video out. So for those of you who are interested in installing a Homelink mirror in your vehicle, I hope you found this video to be helpful. For a list of parts and tools used in this video, check out the link below. If you have any questions or comments, leave one in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video. To support this channel, remember to click on thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notification bell so you get notified of new videos.